everybody, and welcome to Life Chats with Maggie and Bunny. I'm Maggie.
And I'm Bunny. So today we're going to have a little bit of a different thing where we're going to have special guest Maggie Morris-Mingay on with us today, talking about a recent transformative journey that she has been on. It's a little bit vulnerable, so we're going to go ahead and see what Maggie has to say. Maggie?
Thank you. Thank you for allowing me to be a guest on our show.
Yeah. How exciting.
I love Brene Brown when she gets on to TED Talks or on her own arenas and talks about vulnerability. Mm-hmm. And today I am going to be very vulnerable, very open, and I have goosebumps even now when I'm saying it, mm-hmm. because when I do this and share my personal life, it isn't for me. Mm-hmm. It's for that one person that might be listening who doesn't have hope, mm-hmm. who is maybe where I was in that journey a long time ago. And part of being vulnerable is the willingness to do it, to grow yourself and to help that other person, whoever it might be. And I always say one person because one person is enough for me.
Right.
But I don't even care if it helps 10,000 people.
Right.
And especially with this, we're going to go back to January of this year. But it could historically be any January of my life. I have a heart condition that I have to see a cardiologist once a year for him to look at it and see how things are, see what we're going to, if we have to do anything. So every January I go to see my cardiologist. Every January when I go see the cardiologist, he tells me I need to lose weight. Mm-hmm. Every January I walk out of there disheartened because I'm 64 years old, turning 65 this September. And I've tried every diet there is out there. And when I say every diet, I mean every diet. I've juiced, I've blended, I've done everything. I've turned myself inside out trying to lose weight. So this time at the doctor's, I said, well, what am I going to do about it? Because can you help me? He said, just eat less. My first thought was I wanted to curse at him.
Yeah.
Because to me, that's just like telling a depressed person to be happy. Mm-hmm. Like, don't you think they've tried that?
Yeah.
You know, I've tried my whole life to eat less. So I left, needless to say, very disheartened of, okay, if this is how I'm going to leave the world, I guess I'm going to leave the world because I can't do this.
Right.
I've mastered many things in my life, but I could never master this. So I left feeling very disheartened. And the next day when I was having a shower, I had a little bit of a meltdown in my shower. And I said to God and my angels and guides, like, you got to help me with this because I can't do it. Like, I'm going to fail. If I try this, I'm going to fail. And I didn't feel anything at the time, but I really cried, like I was bawling because I knew I couldn't do this. I was going to fail. The next day I had a meeting with one of my other business partners, and she happened to say to me in that meeting that she had gone to this new clinic that listens, that talks about women's issues and weight loss, hormones, and all that stuff. And she said, they actually listen to you. Mm-hmm. And she said how wonderful her experience was there. And I got emotional when she said it because this seemed like a beacon of hope to me. And so I had told her about my shower episode. And she said, well, Maggie, I think you need to try it. She said, you need to go see these people because they're angels. And they listen. So she called them to get me an appointment. And in the same week, I had an appointment to go there. And she was right. They were lovely women, non-judgmental, and set me on a course of change
Mhm.
in February of 2024. For 12 weeks, I went there once a week and I had an injection. I seen a dietitian. I seen a nurse practitioner. There was one time I even talked to a therapist, and they bought into helping me on this journey and believed in me when I didn't believe in me.
Mhm.
I didn't believe that I could succeed. But I'm here to say that here it is, July 2024, and I'm down 32 pounds.
Yay.
And that's a huge celebration
Mhm.
because more than just that, I believe in me.
Mhm.
I see that I can do this now. They said to me in the beginning, "What is your goal? What is the goal weight that you want to be?" And I couldn't tell them that because I didn't believe that I could do it, so I couldn't do it. And now I'm 16 pounds away from that first goal weight.
Wow.
And to me, that's incredible
Yeah.
because when I reached that goal, I said to them, then I can make the next one.
Right.
But I couldn't go all the way to what I want to be
Mhm.
because that was too far away.
Mhm.
And sometimes, to the people who are listening, sometimes the place we want to get to, we don't see what it looks like. We don't see the possibility of it. We don't see that it's even within our grasp.
Mhm.
So we try for less,
Mm.
and that's okay. You don't have to get to the end of the journey before it's time.
Right.
You can make small, tiny goals. And, like I say to people, and like I say to my own clients in regarding death and grief, is sometimes you can only do it half an hour at a time.
Mhm.
Sometimes you can do it half a day at a time. Sometimes you fail.
Right.
Where in the past, when I would fail, it would be all or nothing. Okay, I'm done and
Yep.
I'm going to eat a bag of cookies. Where now, if I have a time of when I think it's failure, I just start again.
Mhm.
I just start again. I come to find out and to realize in part of my own healing with this is that not only did I have a weight issue, but I had a food addiction.
Mhm.
I used food to soothe my wounded self. When my little girl Maggie showed up, I gave her cookies.
Mhm.
I was taught as a child, you nurture with food.
Right.
If you're a good girl, I'll give you a cookie. And many of us
Mhm.
have been the same way.
Yeah.
If you're a good girl, I'll give you a cookie. If you clean your room, I'll buy you this.
Mhm.
You can have some chocolate if you eat all your supper.
Right.
So I learned very early in my life, I reward Maggie with food. And for me, that wasn't a good way to be
Mhm.
because I was rewarding Maggie with number one, the wrong food.
Right.
And number two, I was using food to avoid emotional issues.
Mhm.
I was using food to run away from stressful issues.
Mhm.
I was using food to hide me.
Right.
And what I've realized in this journey is I don't need to do that anymore.
Mm.
Now, if I'm having a stressful day or if somebody hurts my feelings and that little voice says, I think you need a chocolate bar or 7,
Yeah.
I say, what are you really feeling? Maggie, what do you really need?
Mm.
Do you need to know that it's okay that you're hurting? Do you need to know that it's okay to be vulnerable? Do you need to know that it's okay not to be perfect? And I figure out what Maggie needs
Right.
instead of trying to shut her up,
Mm.
and instead of trying to quiet her voice. Because what I've been learning on this journey is it's okay to say what I need.
Mm. Yeah, that's big.
It's okay to need things.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay to be emotional. It's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay to hurt. It's okay to acknowledge that you have weaknesses, that there's things you have difficulty with, and it doesn't make you a bad person.
Mm.
It doesn't make you not a good leader. It doesn't make you not a good coach. It doesn't make you not somebody who's empowering. It doesn't have a minus sign behind it.
Right.
Being vulnerable is a plus.
Mm-hmm.
Recognizing who you are and learning to accept yourself for who you are is a plus.
Mm.
And that's why I wanted to talk about this journey publicly. And it's scary.
Yeah.
And as I say to Bunny, I have to get out my scare sighted, because my scare sighted word is like what the word I use when I'm scared but excited. And I'm scared because what if I fail now? The world knows what
Right.
I was trying. It was easier when I was trying to do this in the quiet of my home, and nobody except those very close to my life knew.
Mm-hmm.
But what if I fail? Now everybody knows.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? I don't care.
Yeah.
It's okay. Because to that one person who might be listening, who's afraid to fail, sometimes we miss out on the best things in our life and trying the best things. It may not be a weight loss journey like it is for me.
Right.
It may be giving up alcohol,
Right.
giving up smoking,
Right.
going back to school as an adult student.
Mm-hmm.
It may be many different things that is what you're afraid to do out of fear of failure.
Mm-hmm.
But failure is not something we need to fear. What we need to fear is never trying.
Right.
What we need to fear is giving up. What we need to fear is not feeling worthy enough to be worth the effort.
Mm-hmm.
And to our listeners today, I want to say you're worth the effort.
Yeah, for
It's
sure.
worth it. And whether I've lost 32 pounds, what I have, or whether I lost 5,
Mm-hmm.
whether I lost 2, whether I lost 1, it's still success,
Mm-hmm.
because I'm the only one who measures success. And sometimes I'm the hardest one on
Yeah,
myself.
for sure.
And when we get to these pivotal places in our life that, you know, our intuition, spirit, whatever calls you to make a change. And for me, it was through a doctor who said it,
Mm-hmm.
but it was also that day in the shower when it was like, Maggie, you've worked. I felt in my heart and in my soul, spirit saying to me, Maggie, you've worked on healing many things in your life.
Mm-hmm.
Why not try this one?
Yeah.
Why not delve deeper into how you use food?
Mm-hmm. Well, I will say this, for me, as being one of your close friends and one of the people that you did tell at the beginning of your journey, um, even just before you made that choice to take that step, it was interesting to me when you came home from that doctor's visit, because this time it mattered when he said it to you. In previous times, you had had previous doctors who had said the same thing, lose weight, and didn't give you a way to do it. Like, they didn't give you a plan, they didn't give you the support. And he gave you the exact same answer that you got last year or that 2 years ago. And so I could tell that there was something just different about you this time when you got this message. And it was like that moment where energetically it's like, it's time now. Like this. And it was, and that's when, like, yes, you were at, you know, I almost was like your come to Jesus moment. Like, it was that moment where it was like, okay, like, I'm ready now, but like I don't know what to do, so like help me figure this out. And you were asking the people who were told to ask, right?
Mhm.
And they weren't giving you the answers, so you had to go inside and go to God and be like, help me. Like, I need an answer. Like, show me the path, light the
Yeah.
way. And then, yes, like you said, like, a person came in your path and you were willing to listen. At that time, you shared the moment. And so that I knew was very different. And even how excited you were when you came home from that first visit, the first appointment, and being like, they actually listened to me. Like, and the way that you talk about them. Now, I will again say that, as you're being vulnerable, um, and we are talking about food addictions, and there are quite a few of us who can do it. One thing that did come up was, how do you navigate, or have you found, like, what have been your experiences in a lot of our culture is set up around celebrations with food. Like, you go out with your friend to breakfast or lunch, you go out for your anniversary to dinner, or you have a birthday celebration and you go to a restaurant, or you have a party. How does that look now? And is it different?
It is different. And sometimes it's harder
Mm,
because yes, you know, you can say, for example, you can quit drinking and just never be around alcohol.
right.
You can't never be around food.
Exactly. Yeah.
You can't not give up, you can't give up food. But the one thing that I have found most helpful is the invaluable support that I have had with a dietitian
Hmm.
of teaching me how to navigate those things. Like, for example, going to a celebration, what are the choices that are the better choices?
Right.
What, how do I keep from it just being a free for all?
Hmm.
If I'm going to a party like this past Saturday, we went and celebrated a friend's 50th birthday, and I didn't make it a free for all.
Right.
It's not, I can have everything because I'm at a party.
Right.
No, um, I can't have everything because I'm at a party, but things that I wanted to have, I could have a tablespoon of,
Right. Yeah.
and just so I get a little taste.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing when I go out for dinner with my husband, and if we want dessert, I'm okay with a taste of dessert now.
Okay.
I don't need a whole dessert.
Hmm.
I don't need the whole piece of pie. I can have a bite of pie.
Right.
And like, one funny story was, a few weeks ago, my husband and I went out for coffee, and I said, "What kind of donut do you want with your coffee?" And he said, "I don't want a donut." And I said, "Yes, you do, because I want a bite of it."
Yeah.
And he laughed and he said, "Well, I guess you better tell me what kind of donut I want then." And that's what I did. And I was quite happy with a bite of his donut. Now, he will tell you, as I'm losing weight, he's gaining weight. Be- because
Because you
sometimes
want,
he has to eat my food.
I was going to say, you want one bite, but he has the rest of the bites.
He has to have the rest of the bite, and he went into
Yeah,
that coffee shop only wanting a coffee.
right.
So that's some of the ways that I use to navigate it. And
Yeah.
just to be real about it as well, the injections that I get of medication change my appetite.
Mm,
So I don't have the same kind of cravings. I get full faster.
hmm
And it's very similar to somebody who has weight loss surgery. Somebody who has
hmm
weight loss surgery can only eat a certain amount of food
Right,
and then they feel ill.
right,
And it's the same thing with me. If I eat greasy foods or if I eat too many sweets, I feel ill.
right.
So navigating that is easier if you feel ill.
Yeah.
So that's the way that you work at navigating that. The other part of it that played an important role to me is I had to pay for this
hmm
service. My husband committed to us investing in me.
hmm
And that commitment on his part and on my part was an extra added push
Motivation. Yeah.
to succeed. It was a motivation. You know, if I'm paying all this money every week when I go there, I really should give it my best.
Right.
I should do my best for it.
Yeah.
And that was probably more so than the fact of me losing weight. That was more so the driving force is I'm paying for this. It's dumb to pay for it if I'm not going to try.
Right. Right.
So that helped.
Yeah.
And as I said, the nutritionist really helped
Yeah.
because what I've come to learn over the months is that when I have cravings of sugars or carbohydrates and that type of thing, the reason I'm having those crazy cravings is because I'm not eating enough protein.
Right.
Our bodies know how to do all this.
hmm
You know, we were born with all of the capabilities to do this stuff. You
Right.
know, our bodies know how to process the food and all of that stuff. It's all the extra stuff that we put in there that confuses it.
hmm
So the more that I'm giving my body the nutritional supplements that it needs in the food that I eat, the less cravings I have.
Right.
And one of the big ones is if you eat enough protein, because your body needs protein.
hmm
And when you're historically, when I would go on diets, I would eat less because that's what my doctor said, just eat
Right.
less,
Yeah.
just eat salads. Well,
Yeah.
if you just eat salads, you're
Yeah.
not getting enough.
Yeah.
And your body's freaking out, going, hey, she's starving us. We got to hold
Yeah.
on.
And that will cause you to crave more sugar, and without the support in the past of knowing why that was happening, you would
Yeah.
probably have given in, quote unquote, given in and eaten that sweet thing, still not really have the craving met because your body is still requiring the protein, not the sugar. And so you would eat more of the sugar, and then you would feel bad and stop. Okay, forget it, the diet doesn't work, right? and
Yeah.
and like that kind of thing. So
And that's how food addictions happen
right,
because, you know, you eat the bag of cookies because that's what your brain's telling you want, but that's not what your body really
right,
wants. So you eat the bag of cookies and then you feel guilty because you eat
yeah,
the bag of cookies. Then you got to eat 7 chocolate bars to get rid of the cookie guilt.
right, exactly. And then you
And
get ice
it's
cream
just a
to get rid
vicious
of the
cycle.
chocolate bar guilt, and yeah,
Yeah. Then I got to eat the chips because I'm no
yeah,
longer craving
right,
sugar. I'm then craving salt,
right,
you know, and it's just a vicious cycle.
yeah, yeah,
Where what I'm finding as on this journey is the more that I give my body the foods that it wants, the less it wants of
right,
anything
right, right,
because it trusts me.
yeah,
My body trusts me now that I'm going to give it what it needs,
right,
even to the point of water.
yeah,
Oftentimes we have cravings because we're thirsty or
right,
dehydrated.
yeah. I know that. I've
If
heard that.
you give yourself, you know, a big glass of water, like I've always got a water bottle.
Yeah,
If I give myself a big drink of water, oftentimes it subsides.
right. They do say that, and they say that you should do that, especially before you go out to eat or go to a buffet or something, is to drink like a big glass of water before you start eating, because yeah, for sure, it will take up space, it will fill up space, and a lot of times our hunger pings are actually thirst.
Yes.
How much of us walk around actually pretty severely dehydrated and we don't even realize it. We're not drinking enough water. I
Yeah.
did want to touch on some stuff. I mean, we're talking about, obviously it's amazing. It's great that you've lost the weight that you had. You're feeling better. I'm sure you're even more energized, and can do more things, and feeling all of the great aspects of it. I do want to just touch on, just to make sure that people do know, that if they're going through things, that you did also have times of a little bit of struggle at the beginning, for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And I know that even and I'd like for you to touch on this, is that because you had experiences in the past where you may not have, well, I don't want to say you were unsuccessful, but that you didn't find what would work for you. That's more the way that I want to say it. And that you had that evidence that these things didn't work, but you didn't have evidence of something that did work yet. So what kind of commitment did you make to yourself and to the program? Like, even did you give yourself some outs? Did you, like, to make it a little bit easier on yourself? You know where I'm going with this.
I did.
Yeah.
I did, and I understand exactly where you're going.
Yeah.
When I first began the program, I gave myself 8 weeks
Right.
because I said, I can do anything for 8 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And in that first 8 weeks, I wished I had given myself 4 weeks because I did want to quit. It was harder in the beginning,
Yeah.
as a lot of things are. It was
Right.
harder in the beginning. And there was a lot of nausea in the beginning and that kind of stuff. I'm working through that and being frustrated with my food choices. And I do keep a food diary.
Mm-hmm.
I use an app that I track. I write down everything that goes in the mouth.
Yeah.
I write it down. And so I do keep track of that. And so, yeah, I gave myself outs. But when I made it to that first 8 weeks, and then I said, okay, I'm going to extend it to 10 weeks now. And then I'll extend it to 12 weeks. And when I reached the 12-week mark, that's when, instead of going to the clinic weekly, I was supposed to switch over to going monthly.
Mm.
And I was supposed to then give myself the injections, track my own stuff, and only go there once a month. I tell you, that first month, that was a scary month, because the brain and the ego kicks in and says, well, you can't do this by yourself. You can't do this by yourself. It's going to be harder, and you're going to fail now. Now's where you're going to fail, because they're not there.
Yep.
And they did tell me, if you change your mind and you want to come back, you can come back at 2 weeks. You can call us, make an appointment. You're not on your own. If you're struggling, you're not on your own. And that first month was pretty hard, like that first month on my own. And when I went, I didn't think I had lost. But that first month on my own, I lost 6 pounds.
Wow. Yeah.
So I went, whoa.
Yeah, I did
Maybe
it.
I can do this on my own.
Yeah.
Maybe I can do it.
Yeah.
And not to say, because I want to say to people, ideally, they don't want you to lose any more than 2 pounds a week.
Yep.
Well, ideally, to me and to my head, I want to lose 2 pounds a day.
You're right.
Like, so I had to make the commitment to myself to not be jumping on the scales every day.
Right.
Because that's discouraging, because, I'm telling myself, you should be losing 2 pounds a day, even though realistically, no, they want you to lose 2 pounds a week. So you're losing fat, not muscle.
Right.
So even though I want to lose it fast, they don't want me to lose it fast.
Right.
Because you have more success of keeping it off if it becomes a lifestyle for you. And I do know, for me, it needs to be a constant lifestyle change.
Right.
Very similar to somebody who makes a lifestyle change to give up alcohol.
Right.
You can't just say, well, I'm just going to have a drink today.
Yeah.
No, or, well, I'm just going to smoke 1 pack and then I'm
right.
then I'm done again. Like, I know if I don't make wise choices, I'm going to be right back where I was in
Right.
February.
Right.
I need to make the commitment to myself. Every day I'm going to make better choices.
Mm-hmm.
And isn't that really true about everything in our life?
Right. Yeah, for sure.
You know, to be the person that I want to be. And an example of that is how I want to live my life from a place of love and
Mhm.
not from a place of judgment. Does it mean I don't judge? No, I do.
Right. Right.
But every day I have to make the commitment that I'm going to live from a place of love. When I see that judgment creep in, I just remind myself, Maggie, that's not who you want to be.
Mm-hmm.
So why are you allowing that choice to come in? You know, and it's the same thing with this. It's a lifelong commitment to Maggie,
Right.
to me. Does it mean I'm going to succeed every day of my life? No.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think you're being maybe a little less hard on yourself if you are slipping or, making a mistake, or where maybe in the past it wasn't as the self-talk might have been a little bit different. So,
Yeah, in the past, when I didn't have a successful day, I
mm-hmm.
would beat myself up
Right.
all the time and say, "See, you're garbage. You can't
Yeah.
do this. Everything that you've ever thought about yourself is true."
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that negative self-talk would come in, where now I don't allow the negative self-talk to have a loud voice.
Mm-hmm.
It's still there, but I don't let it yell at me.
Yeah.
I send it to its corner. I send it to its timeout chair,
Yeah.
so to speak, because I get to choose whether or not I listen,
Mm-hmm.
whether or not I allow it to have free reign in my life. And that's the difference now is I find since I have partnered with spirit and the universe on this,
Mm-hmm.
I know it's like every other commitment and change that I want to make in my life. I make it every day, one day at a time.
There you go. Perfect.
So that's a little bit about Maggie and the journey.
Yeah.
And I wish everyone the same kind of successes. I wish everyone will find people that will listen to them,
Mm-hmm.
support them, guide them. And if you're somebody who is struggling with this, feel free to reach out.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, if you're in the Niagara region and you want to know the name of that clinic, just reach out to me and I'll give you their name because, hey, I'll be their little poster child.
Yeah. And I was going to say, for also, we do kind of have to say this too, is that if you are somebody who is struggling with anything that is happening, reach out to professionals for medical advice and help and support.
Mhm.
But, in the meantime, you can also find places in your own space that also could be like the place that Maggie found here
Yeah.
in the Niagara region. I'm sure there's more out there, and there will be more to come for sure.
And I do believe that just like I did, if you reach out and ask the universe
Right.
and ask creator to partner with you, they'll show you where to go.
Yeah, you just gotta listen.
They'll show you how to get the help.
Yeah,
You got to listen.
you gotta
Yeah.
listen. Yeah. You gotta be
Yeah.
ready to listen to what they say and follow through. And yeah.
And yes, I will confirm, as you said, Bunny, I was followed by a medical team as well, making
Yeah.
sure that I have blood tests
Right.
on a regular basis to make sure that what I'm doing is working for my
Right.
body. And
Right.
it's not just willy-nilly do what you're
Yeah.
doing.
Yeah.
No, it's tracked and yeah.
Yeah.
So it is important to seek medical attention when you need it,
Right.
but as well, seek the support of people who are doing it as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Invaluable. Yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely. Well, on that note, I guess we could say bye for this week. And if you'd
For
like
this guest.
for this guest too, well, I'm sure we could have Maggie. I wanted to call you Maggie Mingay, Maggie Morris-Mingay, to come back another time. I'm sure she'll be here and she'll talk about vulnerabilities in some other way. Maybe I don't know. But anyways, if you'd like to message us or even ask Maggie questions, we do have our email address at aboveandbeyond@gmail.com and our website at aboveandbeyond.com. You can find us everywhere where you listen to podcasts, not just on Spotify, also on our Facebook page and YouTube as well. Bye for today.
Bye for now.